All right, let's introduce the XY coordinate plane. So the XY coordinate plane is really like two number lines put together. One is a vertical number line and one is a horizontal number line. So here are my number lines. The horizontal number line we'll call the x-axis, and the vertical number line, make that a little darker, we'll call the y-axis. So this is called an XY coordinate plane. XY coordinate plane. Now, just like a number line, the x-axis, you can count by ones, twos, fives, tens, 1, 2, 3, and so on in the positive direction, -1, -2, -3, and so on in the negative direction. And this, of course, is 0. And then the y-axis is the same thing. It's like a number line turned upwards. 1, 2, 3, and so on in the upwards direction. -1, -2, -3, and so on in the downward direction. Now, you don't have to count by the same intervals on the x-axis as you do the y-axis, or vice versa. You might want to count on the x-axis by 5s and on the y-axis by 1s, or maybe on the x-axis by 1s and the y-axis by 10s. It really doesn't matter, and usually we want to change those when we're working some kind of application problem. Now, these XY coordinate axes divide the XY coordinate plane into 4 sections. This section right here is quadrant 1. The sections are called quadrants. And we use Roman numerals to identify quadrants. This is quadrant 1. And if you go counterclockwise, then you have quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then finally quadrant 4. All right, well, let's look at this point right here. So another name for a point is an ordered pair. Why is it called an ordered pair? Well, because it is a pair of numbers in a particular order. The coordinates of this point are 2, 3. 2 is the x coordinate. It tells us how far we are going to go along the x-axis in order to get to our point, and 3 is the y-coordinates. It tells us how far up we are going to go to get to the point. So anytime you name a point or an ordered pair, you give its x-coordinate first, and then you give the y-coordinate. All right, so where would a point with, say, -4, 2 be? Well, the point -4, 2 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units to the left on the x-axis and 2 units up in the y direction. So you would start at this middle point right here, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. You would go 4 to the left on the x-axis because it's the first coordinate. The x-coordinate is -4. And then the y-coordinate is 2, so from -4 you would go up 2. And this is the point, or the ordered pair, -4, 2. Now, this point that we start from has a special name. Of course, the coordinates for that point are 0, 0, and this is called the origin. So the origin is the point in the middle. You can also have points on an axis. For example, this point right here is 0, -2. In order to get to this point, I don't go either direction on the x-axis, so I go 0 units to the left or the right, and I go 2 down on the y-axis, and this is the point 0, -2. So this is just a brief introduction on your XY coordinate plane, some of the vocabulary that's important when you are graphing points or identifying the coordinates of points.